Hey everybody, I'm Sean, and welcome to another episode of Angling Spiders. Welcome back everybody. On today's episode of Angling Spiders, we are talking about monetization. It is Wednesday, so I'm back in the studio, and last week I mentioned that we were coming up on our 1-year anniversary of monetization here at Angling Spiders. It's been actually now 11 and a half months that we've been monetized. And that's thanks to all of you because of all of you, we met the criteria and were able to do that. Now, before I get into talking about, our monetization rate, how much money we made over the last 12 months, and a few other little tips and tricks that I learned about along the way, I first want to talk about why monetization. Some people get into YouTube to get monetized, to make money for making videos. That is not something that we did. We started for other reasons, but I think most YouTubers would tell you that they want to get monetized at some point because it is nice to get paid for your content. So what exactly is monetization? Well, once you reach a certain threshold of criteria, and in the case of YouTube currently, that means you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours in a 12-month consecutive period. If you reach that criteria, YouTube will notify you that you are eligible to be monetized. And then what happens is you can put ads in your video. You can choose to put ads in your video. And if people watch those views, you get a portion, a very small portion of the ad revenue for any ads that people watch associated with your channel. So that's how you become monetized. And once that happens, it's a pretty quick process from YouTube. From the time they notified you to the time when you get monetized, I think it took us about a month, and then we were ready to go. So we got monetized in July of last year, and we started seeing revenue. That revenue is paid to you in installments, or at least here in Canada it is. Every time you get $100, they pay you through Google AdSense. So that's what happens. Now, what I want to talk about today in our episode is just exactly how much money can you make as a small channel on YouTube. Well, before I show you our numbers, there's a few things you need to consider. You get paid for views. And it's the number of people or the number of times that people watch the ads in your videos, and also the length of time that they watch your ads, because if they don't watch them for long enough, you don't get paid. So, when you're first starting out in YouTube and you want to get monetized, you are really focusing on picking up subscribers because you want to get to the 1,000 subscriber mark. So you're really focused on gaining subscribers, and you also want people to watch your videos for a long time. That's how you get the watch hours. Once you're monetized, you really shift over to wanting views, because the more views you get, the more people watch your ads, the more money you're going to make. Now, it all goes to say that if you get more subscribers and you get more watch time, you're also going to get more views, and so it all kind of goes together. The reason I'm telling you this is because the important piece is how many views you regularly get on your channel and how often you publish a video that generates views. So our numbers are not necessarily going to be the same as somebody else's numbers if they publish less frequently or more frequently, and they have a larger viewership base. So what I'm going to share with you today is very particular to our channel. We are currently sitting around 1,650 subscribers, and we publish at least one video every week. So if you've got similar numbers, maybe that's about what you can expect in terms of monetization. If you only publish once every 2 or 3 weeks, of course your numbers are going to be less. And we are not counting viral videos. We all know that if you end up getting a viral video that gets hundreds of thousands or even millions of views, that's going to throw these numbers way out the window. But we don't have any of those viral videos yet, so we're more typical of just a slow, standard growth channel. All right, with all of that out of the way, let's jump into the computer and YouTube Studio to show you exactly how much we have made on average over the last year. We are currently in YouTube Studio. For those of you that are content creators, this is where you go to get all of the statistics and analytics on your channel.
Um, we're currently set up with the black color scheme. Yours may look a little different than ours. A lot of people have this as white. But either way, if you're a content creator, you have a lot of the same information that we have available here in our YouTube studio. You've got analytics on your latest video. You've got analytics on your channel and your number of subscribers and how many you've gained. You've got other analytics on your the rest of your videos that you published. And so that's what we're going to go into right now is the analytics tab. And in the analytics tab, you've got now, once you're monetized, your estimated revenue on a 28-day basis is the default. So our current estimated monthly, I guess, revenue is $76.07 Canadian. Now, this is an estimate, but in tracking this payment through Google AdSense, it is pretty accurate. The other nice thing that you've got here on the analytics page is a summary of a bunch of other things related to your channel that directly tie into how much revenue you're likely going to generate. You've got your views, which, as I said, is very critical. And so in our case, in the last 28 days, we've had almost 10,000 views on our videos. You've got your watch hours. So people have watched our videos 628 hours. And how many subscribers you've gained. We have, in the last month, gained 43 subscribers. Then you can look at your daily revenues, and you're always going to see this crosshatched bar that because they always are 24 hours behind in terms of your estimated revenue. But like always, when you publish a video, your money spikes, and in our good days, if you hover over it, you can see how much money you're generating every day. And so when we publish a video, we typically, on the day we publish it, will generate at the moment anywhere between $450 and $650 a day when we publish it, and then it slowly goes down over the week, and then it spikes back up again when we publish another video. One thing that I will show you is we had a little bit of a spike. So one of the nice things here is if you go into this top tab, you can look at different ones. So if you can look at the last 7 days, the last 28, the last 90 days, there's even a custom one. If I go the last year, you're going to see a blip in here, and that is right here. And we published a video that gained 1,200 views in one day. And because of that, there again is that spike. It's the only anomaly that you'll see since we've been monetized. And that was a day that we got $11.53 in one day. Now, you're seeing the last 365 days. So how much money did we make in the last 365 days? Roughly $670.83. So that is how much roughly we have made. And I can tell you we've been paid out so far about $500 of that. So there you go. That is the kind of revenue you can expect in a small channel if you're publishing regularly and you have roughly the same number of views. Now there's a summary. In the last year, we've had 91,517 views. Now, before I finish this out, one thing I need to qualify here is shorts are not monetized. And so a lot of you may have numbers that are much higher than this because shorts typically get a lot more views than full videos. You can have shorts that get thousands of views, but they are not monetized, and so they don't count towards these numbers. So your numbers may be twice as high or even 3 times as high as this, but you should not include your short video counts in this when you're comparing how much revenue you make per the number of views that you have. All right. So that's the amount of money we've made in the last year. Happy to share that with you guys. The only other thing I can tell you that affects your ad content is if you want the maximum number of ads in a video, your videos need to be over 8 minutes. Because when they're over 8 minutes, YouTube will allow you to put mid-roll ads, which means they pop up in the middle of the video. So now it might annoy your viewers because you're going to have even more ads that pop up when people are watching. But if you want to maximize your ad revenue, or at least the number of ads in your videos should be 8 minutes or longer. All right, let's jump back in the studio because I have one other thing that I think is even more important related to monetization.
All right, so there's some of our statistics from YouTube, and I hope you guys enjoyed that look into how our numbers have averaged out over the last 11 and a half months. Now, we're a lot of people focus on monetization as a way to make money with YouTube, but now what I'm going to share with you is something that is completely different and, in my opinion, is far more beneficial to those of you who are monetized and are looking for another way to make some money. Now, before I give you this tip, caution and warning. I am not a financial advisor. I am not an accountant, and you should not consider anything that I'm about to say to be applicable directly to you or your business until you check with an accountant or your local tax laws. So, big disclaimer right here, because I don't want this to be construed as me giving anybody tax advice. This might be very particular to my situation here in Alberta. But here we go. One of the biggest benefits of getting monetized is that you are, at least for me here in Alberta, is that you are now generating your own income. So you effectively have a small business. What does that mean? Well, once you have a small business and you're generating self-income, you declare that income on your income tax. At least in Canada, we have to. And when you do that, it also means that your expenses become a tax deduction. That's right, here in Alberta, I can claim anything I use for angling spiders to produce the videos, to go out and catch the fish, as part of my small business, as part of that self-generated income, which means I can also claim all of those items as a tax deduction. What does that mean? Gas for my vehicle, tax deduction. Use of my vehicle, tax deduction. Home office, studio, tax deduction. Buying fishing equipment and fishing tackle, tax deduction. Going on a fishing trip, buying fishing licenses, buying a new GoPro camera, tax deductible. So as you can see, for those of you that go fishing quite a bit, you know that fishing is not a cheap sport. Those tax benefits are actually generating more return to me than the income that I'm receiving right at the moment from YouTube. So I have an accountant that does this for me and submits it to the government on my behalf, and then I get a tax break. So I actually spent more on expenses last year than I generated from YouTube revenue, and so my benefit from my taxes was significantly larger. Again, some of you might have thought of this, some of you haven't, but again, please, you got to know your local tax laws. You should talk to an accountant to make sure that whatever you're claiming is appropriate. It is different from province to province, from country to country. I am only speaking about this from an Alberta perspective in Canada. That being said, it sure has been nice to be able to claim all of this stuff on my taxes. All right, that's the other benefit that most people don't know about when you get monetized, and something that you should think about, particularly once you find out what the tax laws are in your area. One thing I would suggest, regardless of whether you've checked into it or not, as soon as you are monetized, start tracking those expenses. Keep your receipts, keep a logbook. Depending on your requirements for your vehicle, you might have to have a mileage book. Everything and anything related to your channel, start keeping your receipts and tracking your expenses so that if you are eligible to claim any of those, you've got the backup needed for when you file your taxes. All right, that is the last tip I have on this topic. We will be back to fishing on Saturday, and I can tell you that it is the beginning of a pretty awesome trip out at Badger Lake, where I take out that 12-inch Savage Gear line through pike that I showed in the previous Wednesday episode. I get it out there to test it out and see what I can catch, and of course that's our ongoing contest at the moment, where I wanted people to guess the weight or the length of the biggest fish I would catch on that thing. So that starts on Saturday. And For those of you that follow on Instagram, you might already know that there were some big fish caught, so I look forward to having you guys watch that. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. I really appreciate you joining me for this one. And as always, if you liked the video, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and until next time, good fishing. One last thing, everybody. If you want to help out those small YouTube channels make a little bit of money to put back into their channel, you got to watch at least 30 seconds of the ad in order to get paid. Most people don't know that. And that's why most of our revenue comes from the non-skippable ads. There you go.